All right. Well, I want to, in the essence of making sure that we stay on time and respecting everybody's time, we're going to get started right about a minute after our start time. Just a reminder, we're going to go over branding and logos, membership recruitment, social media outreach, using video to promote your club, a little bit on newsletters, and enrolling members to join the public relations team. So that's a lot on the slate. Like I said, some of you have already been in some of the both online and in-person workshops, so I'll try not to repeat too much, but I will give you all the tools so that you can take it back to your teams. Before we get started, I'd like to just do quick introductions. So Steve, you're in the top left of my screen. I'm going to start with you and we'll just kind of go around the room.
I was doing something else. Just introducing myself.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Stephen Levine from Palm Springs Center Rotary. We are obviously the morning club, and I am responsible for our website and overlook what Kevin and Bill Chase does on our bulletin. And we're very active in everything. We keep it up to date. We all do it at least 3-4 times a week. We're on DACDB or whatever. Getting things done, and we're now preparing for our Chalk Art Festival in the middle of March and keeping that website going and getting everything up to date on that.
Well, Steve, your club is, you and your club are a very good example of how to do it right in marketing, and thank you for joining us today. Joe, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Joe Daly. I am the charter president of the Indio Sunrise Rotary Club, and for the last probably 10 years, I've done the newsletter, and I have gone on to DACDB, and we kind of have a halfway website on there. And we had a big law enforcement appreciation event on November 8th. We had over 300 people there. And in order to prepare for that, we have a link on our website where we can use credit cards to donate or pay for breakfast or whatever.
Good job. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for coming. Kevin, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Kevin Taylor from the Palm Springs Sign-Up Rotary Club. I am the Community Service Chair. And like Stephen said, kind of helping out with the PR stuff. I manage the social media for our club. So we're on Instagram and Facebook, and do a couple posts throughout the week, getting ready for Chalk Art as well, and just staying busy. So that's what I'm doing.
Doing a good job. Dan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Dan Cortesi. I'm from the Rotary Club of Hemet. I am the club's public image chair. I'm a past president, and I'm the district. I'm on the district public image committee, and I manage most of the social media stuff and do a lot of the marketing and stuff for our events.
And he's the incoming public relations chair for next year.
How can I forget?
So. Yeah, you've taken it over and running with it.
Yeah.
Welcome, Gabriella. Thanks for coming to our workshop. Can you take a second to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and why you're here.
Hi, I actually just joined, so I apologize. I didn't hear everybody's introduction. My name is Gabriella, or I go by Gabby. I'm part of the Hemet Rotary Club as well. And this is my second time joining. I'm just learning. Dan Cortesi invites me, so I'm just trying to learn.
Good. Well, we're glad you're here. You're going to be part of our conversation on how to build a PR team. You ask them to come. Jack, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi. I'm sorry I'm not on video. I took a nasty spill and I sort of look like I've been in a prize fight. I am the newsletter editor for the Palm Springs Noon Club, and we don't have a social media or communications chair. I'm sensing that it may be drifting my way, so the more I know, the more prepared I will be to say no.
Oh, yes. No, all of us here do not know the meaning of no.
That's what I suspect.
We would not be sitting in these chairs if we knew the meaning of no. All right, awesome. So like I said, we're going to jump right in. We're going to go over quite a few things today. all of which can be expanded on more deeply, either in a personal session if you guys have more questions. And of course, Dan and I both are available for and will serve as a resource. And I'm going to be giving you a lot of resources today. So where I'd like to start actually is with branding. And we talk a lot about branding in general. Sorry, you can see my emails here. But what I'd like to do is take you to the newly minted brand center at Rotary. Now I'm going to take this little URL and we're going to copy and paste it into the chat. Is everybody seeing my screen? Not that.
Yes.
This particular tool and resource is something that's new this year. That the Rotary International has added, and it does not require you to have to log in like Rotary.org does. So, or My Rotary does. And what I'm going to do a brief little tour of this. We've done this in various sessions before, but this time I wanted to take you in to take a look at exactly what you can do and how you can do it, and take a look around and talk a little bit more about some of the videos. So this is the home page of this site, and you can see that we have a lot of information about the brand itself, the downloads and templates. I'm going to go right into this center section here where you can ask exactly what you want to do. Most people want to create a club logo, and this is a challenge that we have throughout our district and actually all over, that people, clubs have been using a logo that is older and not necessarily to brand, and they may not know exactly how to create that logo. So you go right from the home page, you can take it right to how to get into the templates of creating a logo. So if you see here under templates, it's the Rotary Club logo. So we're looking for Rotary Club logo and create. So it's super simple. So for example, the Rotary Club of Temecula does not have an in-brand logo. Our logo has all kinds of stuff that is absolutely not according to the brand. So if I wanted to create a new logo, I come over here to the left-hand side. I want a regular logo. I want it full color. And you have some options here. You can put the name below, above, above and below. It kind of depends on how long the name is that you have, and you can play around with it as well. So I just want to do our name below, and I'm going to put Club of Temecula. So then you can see right here on the right-hand side, you can see exactly how it's going to present. So if I wanted to say, oh, I don't really like it like that, I think I want to put it above, I could do that, and it'll show it above. Real time. And then I could say, you know what, I don't really like it that it says, I really don't like it that way. So I'm going to take it down back, put it down below. I'm going to, there we go. So then it'll change it for me. So then what do we do from here? We want to download the file. So if you see here, and I did that a little quick, but right underneath that template part, you can hit download file, and you can get it in a multitude of different ways. PDFs, JPEGs, PNGs, all three have each one of them has their use. Most people are very, very familiar with JPEGs, and so that's what we want to download, and it goes right onto my computer. So then I have a JPEG file of the Rotary logo of Temecula, and I can use that file in a wide variety of ways. So has anyone had a chance to take a look at this brand center by a show of hands? Who uses the brand center? Who doesn't use the brand center? Joe?
First time I saw it.
Okay, well, good. I'm going to teach
I wrote it down.
Yep, and I also put that link in the chat for you to copy and paste and save. This is one of those things that you definitely want to save and use quite efficiently because there's a lot of different things. So I'm going to go back to the Brand Center. We're going to get out of the templates. But by the way, it's not limited to just, I'm going to stay here for just a second. It's not just limited to your logo. You can create promotional materials. Just about every time a new president comes in, if you haven't had one before, you're looking at brochures or club and resources, information, ads, social media posts, all kinds of things are available. I think, you know, one of the, for just everything that we do in Rotary, here's one for youth exchange. So if we're trying to promote youth exchange and get those kids out there to travel either inbound or outbound, you can quickly create something that looks absolutely professional and print it either on your own printer or send it to the printer. And again, you can just determine what size you want it to be. You can edit the content to add your club's information, your logo, an image, maybe the phone number, a few little bit of text, but the visuals are already created for you. And it's not just limited to printed materials. I like to show this printed materials because I don't think a lot of our Rotarians realize how much is actually here. But we also have a lot of images and video and audio. So in our download section, and this is, I got here from this navigation point here, came to the downloads, and there's downloads of people in action. We can find videos and photos for polio, our other causes, and our youth. So I'm just going to go into the people of action. And what things do you think you might use video for?
Bringing on new members.
Yeah, in maybe a club presentation, in the club presentation?
Right, or even on social media, depending, you can type, you know, that's what it's exactly for, is social media and getting people interested in Rotary or finding out more about it.
Exactly. And that's what I want everybody to see here. These videos and photos are already created. They're here for you to be able to even edit. None of the videos have any information on them that is specific to any other club. So you can either layer your information over it, or you can just use it as a background video. So you can preview the video.
We're change makers, problem solvers, and community builders. We are Rotary, and together, there's no limit to what we can accomplish. Take action with us. Find out more at rotary.org/action.
So some of them have, that one had a specific with regards to going to rotary.org, but it's also a good thing to maybe use on your social media. You can change some of them do not even have any audio, and you can see on here it'll say subtitles, or it'll say no audio, or it could be just a picture. This is a good one, a good example for, we're going to be doing Rotary at Work weekend. And this might be, if you don't have a picture of your club doing Rotary at Work in your area, you could utilize this on your social media post, in your newsletter, just as a visual regarding what you're doing, and then add your information to it. And I'm going to have Dan speak because he actually uses this a whole lot more than I do, and he uses these photos and layers over text. So Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about how you use this particular tool?
Yeah, so I always kind of talk about Canva. It's pretty much what I bring everything into to do some quick videos and stuff like this. But all you have to do is once you log into Canva, you can upload this video. There's actually a template for videos in Canva, and then you can layer, you know, whatever you want, either text or logos or whatever into the video and save it. So when you play it, you'll see Rotary Club of, you know, Palm Springs. So Super easy to do. When you do that though, it's probably easier to download the PNG file for the logo, and that way you don't have the background. If you don't do that, Canva allows you to remove the background, so it's not really a big deal. But if you bring it in without the background, you don't have to worry about that extra step. But yeah, that's typically how I use them.
And I'm gonna put sorry, I'm going to put the canva.com link in our chat, because that is the tool that is free. So for nonprofits, it is free. You can use that to do your, like exactly what Dan was talking about, adding content and text over it, but also on the templates within within Rotary Brand Center, you can also add, there is ability to add information in text and such over the top of your information in your Rotary Brand Center.
Hey, Judy, this is Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Two questions and for you and Dan. The first is there a newsletter template? Because I've tried in the Brand Center to find one and ended up using something different. It's a bit clunky. And when I'm not here, it's the people having to use what I've created, it's kind of difficult. So that's my first question. The second is ours is an older club. And of course, we're trying to recruit new members. Is it, this may be awkward, is this misleading to use photographs representing our club from the library that really doesn't reflect what the people will see, a visitor will see when they come into our club?
Very good questions, Jack. Obviously, we want to, it's preferred to represent the club, but we don't always have those photos necessary. And I will say that when you go on to the Rotary Brand Center, there's a lot of different communities that are represented there. It may not be exactly what you will find when you walk in the door at your club, but the idea is if you are unable to have those pictures from your own inventory, then they're there for your use.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I did do a quick search on the newsletter. Maybe somebody else can point to it, but I didn't see a newsletter template come up. Stephen, did you have
I have a question in regard to on branding. Several years ago, when we were first starting out with DAC-DV and put the new website together, I put together, which I thought was a very nice, which I found online, a rotary rotating wheel. And I got a phone call so quickly from Dan Goodrich, who got a phone call evidently when I said about something that came out of district and zone, saying this is a third party thing and not authorized by Rotary. What's the problem with picking up a third party thing? I thought it was gorgeous. It added something to our website. It came down very quickly, but any idea what the didn't cost?
Yeah, I would say this. You can put other third-party items onto your website as long as it does not incorporate the Rotary International logo.
Yeah, evidently, right.
Right.
But
So,
frankly, that's what, nothing was wrong with it. It really showed Rotary going around the world, rotating and whatever. But okay.
yeah, it just doesn't. They're gonna cut you down on that one because it's not something that they have created.
No, I tried it and oh well.
And there, I was trying to quickly find the brand guides, and maybe Dan, you could find that while I'm chatting and put it into the chat. But there are written brand guidelines or we can get you a link to brand guidelines, which will help you see how you can use the logo appropriately, where you can use it appropriately, and what you do with other things that you may have some partnerships and associations. For example, let me see if I can find that really quickly. With your partnerships and a logo, they're calling that logo lockups. Let me make sure I'm sharing. They call that logo lockups, and logo lockups kind of are a way you can still use the logo appropriately, but yet bring in a different part. So for example, Here you have the Rotary logo. This is a Rotary International logo, and then you can see this line, and it's Rotary Fellowship or Action Group. So you're not stacking them all on top of each other. You see this a lot, especially if you look at sometimes like the Scanex and some of the youth logos, they tend to just really stack everything all on top of each other. And what Rotary's trying to do is keep this purity of the brand and then have this line and then put other associations next to it. So here's, for example, if the Rotary Club of Temecula partnered with Habitat for Humanity, you could still have, and we all did an event, it could be Rotary Club of Temecula, then you have this line, and then the partner, sponsor, program, or event that could be entered in. So there are ways to, this is often, for example, if you have the Rotary Club of Corona is doing the Lobster Fest. So you could have the Rotary Club of Corona's correct logo over here, and then Lobster Fest with the little lobster guy. But we could not, for example, the Rotary Club of Lake Arrowhead, or I think is it Arrowhead? The one that has the squirrel? I think it's
Idlewild.
Idlewild. So
Yeah.
you can't have the logo and then the squirrel with the Rotary wheel in it. It could be the Rotary Club of Idlewild in the proper format. The squirrel could be over here, it just couldn't have the wheel in it. Does that make sense?
Actually, what happened, Corona, I think it's Corona that has Lobster Fest, got called down because they used the Rotary wheel as part of their Lobster Fest enticement, which looked great, but Rotary called them down on that because it represented the wheel.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing is you don't want to see that wheel by itself in another image, spinning around, doing anything like that. That stays pure. And then the other images can be associated with, but not combined.
Another thing that we did in our club, because we were, some people are very attached to our sunset logo that we have. And when we went we went from Rotary or Hemet Sunset Rotary to the Rotary Club of Hemet, and we kept all of that sunset stuff internal. So a lot of our internal documents, we still have the logo on it. We actually have a private page on Facebook that features that logo, but it's kind of a way to keep it there, but we're not usually using it externally. So, we still follow the brand guidelines, but we still satisfy kind of the need for some of the guys that put that logo together, to keep on. But
And the biggest reason for the branding guidelines and for making sure that we are brand conscious and we are all in brand compliance is that when people are introduced to Rotary or they're just in the community, maybe not even looking to be a member, but when they can see the vastness of who we are and what we do, that we all look like that we belong together and we're not just a bunch of little organizations out there on our own. And I think it really comes to light when you start to bring together the power of even our own district and all of the impact that we have as our district. This Rotarians at Work weekend, that is going to be one of the biggest things that I hope we see out of that. And everyone here, if you haven't already submitted your Rotarian at Work weekend plan to Dan or I, please do so, because we are writing a press release and we are doing a campaign outreach, first of all, to get the general public to join us in volunteering on those projects. And secondly, to really share the concept of the impact of all of these 60 clubs coming together and how many, at the end of it, I'm looking for how many volunteers out of our entire district, how many people did we impact, what were we able to accomplish as 60 clubs? And it's pretty powerful. And that's one of the biggest reasons why the brand and the branding guidelines are out there, because we also want to do that on a global level.
Judy, by any chance, do you have a preset form or something that the clubs can use and send that to you?
I'm having Dan Goodrich work on that, and yes, we're hoping to have a landing page where the clubs can go and just fill that information out. Right now, if you can email it to Dan, but hopefully Dan Goodrich will have that up for me in the next couple of days.
Thank you.
Hey,
But that's a
Judy.
good idea.
Judy, Palm Springs Noon is partnering with Dan Calori on a project. Did you get any notification? Because I'm not sure who, because we don't have a media person, I'm not sure whether we even knew to do this.
Nope, you may not have known to do this. And I wrote an email and I scheduled it. I don't know if it went out today or if it's scheduled. Oh, I think it's tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It goes out to your presidents for everybody to do that. But if you know, I'd rather get it 2 or 3 times than not get it at all. So send it in and send it to the email that Dan had put in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay, so I'm going to get off the brand soapbox unless anybody else has any other questions. And in there, we talked about both the brand and then also using video. Video is received much, and people engage more with video and photos than they do with just text when you're looking at your social media channels and also on your website. So that's the importance of video. Ideally, to Jack's question earlier, if we can get video, good video of our events, of our club, people in action, not people sitting around in chairs necessarily. We really want to see them working. We want to see them, you know, doing a service project. We want to see them maybe getting together at a social event and, you know, having a great conversation. Those kind of videos go a very long way in promoting what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, both on social media and our website. And Dan is probably has a lot to say about video, so I'll let him chat about that.
No, I immediately took on public image during my year as president because we didn't really have a public image chair, and I decided I was just going to do both. And a lot of that was just videoing, like Judy was saying, everything we did. And as soon as we were done with it, you know, I'd put it out there on the internet, and I shared it, you know, or mostly on Facebook, but I shared it to pretty much every group that I had in my list. And that's easy to do on Facebook. You sign up for all these different groups that are around your community, whether they're community based. I mean, we have very popular food related groups that people share to constantly, but those are the biggest groups in town and they respond. So yeah, maybe I was sharing something about a food distribution, but I shared it to a, you know, kind of like this food connoisseur group, but it went further, it exploded, you know, from there. So just stuff like that. It's super easy to do. And you can do it all from your phone. And I know you can do, like Kevin does a lot of live feed stuff, and that's super effective. When you're in the moment, you can knock that out. But I also like to create, you know, something that's eye-catching, you know, post the event. Like I was kind of pressed for time the other day to do a video about our music competition, but it was just a goal of mine to get something out there so people knew that this is what we were doing. This was the talent that we were able to bring in, and this was the scholarships we were able to award. I got to explain that that program and how they get to go on to the district and earn more scholarships. Super easy. You know, it doesn't really take that much time. Sometimes, you know, you can get a little creative with it. And I always, like, I go back to Canva. It's just another source, you know, to use to make it easy for yourself. So I use a lot of videos as often as I can. And I think it's definitely gotten the word out about Rotary. I know we're talking about the Rotarians at Workday, and a few years ago we did a park cleanup, and the reason why we had so much success was because I went up and filmed what the park looked like before, and then I put the word out, you know, on social media saying, hey, this is the problem and we want to fix it, so come out and help us. Well, once we got up there, we couldn't almost find a place to park. People had already gotten there before us, and they were ready to get into action and clean up the place. We had hundreds of people at this park. And I believe it was, you know, from the video, because that's how everybody knew about it. So that's how effective video can be. And obviously it catches your attention when you're scrolling through, you know, your social media. you're more likely to stop at a video and check it out versus, you know, a flyer or something like that. But so video is super effective.
All right, Steve, did you have a, thank you, Dan.
Yes, I've worked with videos, adding it to our website, such as like Kevin's video. His was simple, just copying a previous one and adding it in. But going into DACDB and Easy Story, there along the top toolbar, there are icons that will tell you how to add URLs, videos, and things like that. You may have to do it through notes to establish the URL that may have the video or things like that. But you know, playing with it, it's actually turns out to be very simple. Well, I guess anything is once you know how to do it. But that's how you can put it on your website. I did it with our project Peanut Butter, that we had some videos and I added it to that story, which is an international project, and which our club through RI is the main benefactor, you know, to Project Peanut Butter. But, you know, going into Easy Story is a good way of doing it.
And the key to DACDB is using it often. So the more you play with it, the easier it gets.
And we throw DACDB out there all the time. There are resources for that as well. Training resources from Mike Soden. But if you're one of those people that need it one-on-one, or you want to get into a group, I know Dan Goodrich is working on that. I know that I'm going to throw you out there under the bus, Steve, but Steve tends to be available because he's very familiar with it. So definitely utilize your resources. Don't fight it if you don't understand it, and try to figure it out. There are a lot of people that do understand it and are here to help you. I want to speak a little bit to what Dan talked about. We don't have to wait until our event, and I'm going to speak directly about the Rotarians at Work weekend. We need to all be putting a video out there inviting the general public to come and help us volunteer. This is going to fall into two categories. It's going to be video and membership recruitment. This is a great way for people to get to know what you do as a club. And the statistics show the number one reason that people join Rotary is for the service project. And the number one reason that people stay in Rotary is the friendships. So make sure you're inviting the general public to come out. We will repost those videos for you. You can do it right from your phone. And I'm going to have Kevin, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit. Can you talk about how you got comfortable with doing videos from your phone and also doing Facebook Live?
Sure. I guess I kind of grew up doing theater, so that kind of came natural to me. So it wasn't foreign. But as I mentioned the last time, I don't do a lot of Facebook real live. I usually do record and then post. It's just easier because that way it's not a mistake. You're not fumbling over words. And then again, I can always go back and check the background, make sure that looks good, make sure there's not people hanging out behind me. So it may take a couple of times, but I guess for me personally, I'm more of a perfectionist and I want it to come across as it looks good. But that's kind of what I've done. And then, like I said, the video that I just did for our chalk art event, it's a little bit long, but it got the point across. And I kind of mixed it with still photos and video. And then when I was interviewed last week from KESQ, the reporter asked me if I had anything. So I sent her a whole bunch of stuff and she incorporated all the stuff that I had done into the news package, and it actually turned out pretty well. So, thankfully I kept it, and it does work. So to your point, for the one coming up, we've got 2 Rotarian at Work days happening, one on the 15th, which will be painting at a trailer park that we've done several times. I've got photos from that from probably about 3 years ago. And then on the actual day, the 29th, we're going to be working with one of our partners, Mizell Center, and we're going to be doing packaging of lunches for their Meals on Wheels program. So we'll have 2 in the month. And then we also do our monthly trash pickup, which again, I've done video and I've done photos, so we can post that as well. So
again, share all that with the district, because we will repost, and that's how it goes viral.
You got it.
Jack or anyone else, did you have any questions
Yeah,
about?
I did, and Ken and I'm very excited to hear about what you're doing. Um, I've taken videos with my phone, not very good videos. Is it possible that the district could offer sort of, because I'd like to sort of broaden beyond myself, people that take pictures at our different events, have a little tutoring session, either on Zoom or online, how to use your iPhone, and more importantly, to your point, how do you edit? Because if you do stumble over your words or you misspeak, how do you correct that? The second thing, and this is sort of off point, but it's kind of important because we're doing a project with Palm Springs High School with their community garden, and it's based on a Rotary Action Group effort out of Australia. But one of the efforts is I asked them to engage their media class to record the project from its inception all the way through, with the idea of replicating it and packaging up for other school districts. It's basically community gardens and nutrition. Are there any resources from the district in case that the school doesn't come through with a media class?
Do you need someone to come videotape it, or when you say, is there anything from the district, what are you looking for?
Well, it would probably be videotaped, because what I want to do is actually interview some of the kids that are in the garden club, why they're doing it, et cetera. Some of them are Interact kids, but also we're going to end up with a project. It's going to be a family nutrition day. And so the kids are going to actually prepare plant-based foods for their families, and we've got some chefs coming in, hopefully. And I just think it's a huge opportunity for Rotary to kind of make a big splash in an area that might be of interest. And I just don't have any confidence that the school district has the resources to marshal their own kids to do this. I just want to be prepared.
Yeah, so I think that we could address that in a couple of different ways. Number one, yes, we will have a workshop that is just 100% editing video, and I'm going to have Dan do that. I think he's done one, but we'll do one that's 100% just editing videos. Secondly, Jack, what you have in your phone and what those kids have on their phones, that camera is better than most cameras that I send out on professional jobs. They're 5K video. Even if the media department doesn't come together, if there's an Interact club, just have the kids do the video.
Okay.
Because they know trust me, they know what they're doing better than we do. And they have all the tools on their phone to edit and add stuff, and they're TikToking the heck out of it. So just make sure you assign one of them or two of them or three of them to just make it a competition between 2 or 3 kids for them to capture it. They can take the interviews from their phone. They can do everything from their phone. You don't even have to engage their media department. That would be lovely, because it would be a great project. But I also know how difficult it is to get media departments at any school to do anything in a timely manner. So if you've got kids involved, just garner those kids to tell them that what you need, and trust me, they probably know exactly how to do it.
Fantastic suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions on video? We talked about that. I don't want to go over time. Membership recruitment. So I'm going to kind of go into membership recruitment. I put several things in the chat. Some of you have been in the live workshop that we did, that we went through these scenarios. So I'm not going to necessarily go through each one of these scenarios, but what I would suggest and recommend is that you guys take these back to your committee chairs and run through these scenarios with them. So the first one we'll talk about is working together as a team to create a strategy to promote a club event. So this is a really good one, again, to take back to your team. If you don't have a committee for public relations, maybe you take this if you're going to a board meeting or an event, a meeting for your upcoming event. Take this with you and have everybody take a few minutes in the meeting and kind of go together and kind of work through this little worksheet. What it will do is foster some conversation. If each and every person puts their thoughts down and then you take a few minutes to discuss it, you'll find that I think you'll come up with some new ideas. the key thing on the events is that we're making sure on any promotion that we're doing, whether it be print, online, social media, that we're covering the who, what, when, where, and how. And the how is the big one. I see this a lot, that we get the who and the what. Sometimes we forget the when. We know most of the time get the where, but the how can I buy tickets, and how can we, pay you for what we're trying to do, or how can we, get the information we need. So we want to make sure that those key elements of information are on everything we do with the event. And then having the conversation about outreach strategies. It's amazing what people will come up with, because there are a lot of resources in our clubs just within our members. I mean, if you think about it, those of us that own businesses, if we're promoting our club event and we email out the information to our database of contacts, that could be anywhere between 100 contacts and 4,500 contacts or more that somebody might have, just depends. So there's a lot of resources within your clubs. And then making sure when you're doing, this is another one that I see a lot, where we take information for ticket purchases or those that RSVP for events, and then we don't do anything with that data afterwards. Meaning, maybe sending an email out to everyone that came and thanked them with a question in it. Did you like what you see? Would you like to become part of our club or become part of Rotary? So that collection of data that you're getting whenever you're doing your events could be a huge membership drive. And that doesn't mean spam them. It means, information that you might be able to send out that tells people a little bit more about what you do. They've had a great experience with your club, etc. So I've put a few of these in here. We've got one about events. We've got one about developing strategies to outreach and engage your own members, because we often talk about retention is one of our biggest challenges and opportunities, and really making sure that our members are staying and we're not losing them out the back door. And then also outreach, engaging the community. So are there any questions on these? Is there anything that anyone would like to dig in a little deeper on before we go on to the next thing?
Where are
Where
these?
do we find the form?
So if you look in the chat, you should be able to download those Word documents. Do you see them in the chat?
Nope.
Oh,
Dan, are you seeing them there? Oh, well, it helps if I hit send.
No.
How about now? I was seeing it. What's wrong with you guys? They should be there now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Judy,
There, yes.
one thing into membership is that, I go see a lot of my friends, elder, and they all say, what is Rotary? The old story. What are we doing to getting beyond interact with groups like that, which the kids are learning about Rotary, but their parents who are in their late 20s, 30s, maybe early 40s, and do not know about Rotary. We do not do a good job promoting what we are. Seeing the float in the parade is nice, but what is Rotary? It's always been our questions on our website, everybody's website, your portfolio. We don't seem to have the right way of going after the young adults, 35 and up. That's what we're looking for on Rotary. That's the age-old question.
It is the age-old question, and there's lots of strategies to go about that. But I'm going to ask you first a question. How old were you when you joined Rotary?
65.
Okay. Kevin, how old were you?
47.
37?
47.
47? Dan, how old were you when you joined Rotary? You're on mute.
I think I was 37.
All right. Jack, how old were you when you joined Rotary?
59.
Sophia, how old were you when you joined Rotary? Sophia's may not be on.
55.
55, all right.
55.
Gabriella, how old were you when you joined Rotary?
I'm 39.
39. Okay, so we've got a little bit. I think I was probably in my late 30s when I joined Rotary. And by a raise of hands or by virtual hands, those that joined Rotary, were you invited by a friend?
Yes.
Kind of.
Kind of? Okay, so if you weren't invited by a friend, Kevin, tell me how you found out about Rotary.
So when I worked for Livestream Blood Bank back in the day, part of my job as community liaison was to join a service organization. So they asked me to join one. However, Bob and Carrie Allen have been friends with my family since before I was born. So I knew that Bob and Carrie were both very active, Bob being in the noon club and Carrie in my club. And so it worked out to join the morning club. So it was kind of a double thing. I mean, I knew about Rotary, but I didn't know about it. But until I got hired and they said, you need to join some service organization, you can choose which one you want. I knew at that point it was going to be Rotary. And that's how I joined.
Very cool. And why I do this exercise, Stephen, is because it's not just, we need to ask for people to come and join. And we often say we need to get those 30 somethings and we need to get the younger ones. I think this applies to people of all ages, honestly, because, we want people that are passionate about service above self, whatever age they are. And I don't want to discount anyone at any age, and this isn't just, the patent DEI thing. We really, practicing inclusivity, we need to open our doors a little bit more and invite people in that are from our community. So how do we do that? There's a lot of different ways to do that. There's a lot of different strategies, and we do need to have a strategy. One thing that I don't know that we do enough is just simply have an open house or an event where we just invite people that are interested. In our club, it's called a fireside chat. Everybody calls it something different. It could be a lunch and learn, it could be a fireside chat. But when you're looking at specifically young professionals or any professionals that are working, a lot of them cannot get away from their job during the day. So that's got to be something maybe that's in the evening. Keeping in mind where your audience is, excuse me, what their day might look like, so that you're creating an event that's going to be, or a time that's going to be convenient for them. Understanding they may have children, so maybe it's a picnic at the park and it's just about how to get to know Rotary. And so different strategies are going to be different ways. Another great way to reach and touch those young professionals or any professionals is being involved with the chamber. Just about every club is a chamber member or is given a free chamber membership, depending upon the chamber in the city. And a lot of our clubs are not taking advantage of that. So we hosted at Temecula Rotary, we hosted a chamber event. We were the host, so you automatically get a whole bunch of people from the community that may have never even known about Rotary or even thought about it, because they're always going to go to that chamber event. And then you can have an opportunity to talk a little bit more about what you do, telling the story. And that's the big one too. That's what's so important about this Rotarians at Work, and getting videos and pictures and stories about the impact, and not just our club had 15 people and we painted a house. No, I want to talk to that homeowner or the kids of that homeowner and say, how did this impact you? With obviously full respect and reason. But if we're creating boxes that are going to go to military families, maybe we're talking to a military family. How would this make you feel if you received a box like this, or your loved one received a box like this when they're overseas and you're here at home? So those are the ways that you'll be able to speak to and reach the communities that you want to reach, to encourage them to become members. And it's really important that it's a part of the plan. That stuff doesn't just happen. It does need to be a plan, and every club needs to have a plan of how they're going to outreach to new members.
Judy, another one I mentioned last time too was meetup.com.
Yes.
That's another great one. So right now, I mean, I just joined it for our club probably about 2 months ago, and we're already up to 13. In our last trash pickup, we had a woman who lives all the way out in Shadow Hills in Indio, who's well into her 60s, and she drove out to help pick up trash. Never been to Palm Springs where we pick it up. I don't know if she's going to join the club, but she said this was really fun. I never thought picking up trash and getting to talk to new people would be fun. And again, it's not the premise of it's Rotary, it's come and help us do a project. And while we're there, we'll tell you more about it, but that's not the hook ahead of time. It's like, we would love your help if you could come and volunteer with us at this event. And while you're there, make some new friends. And if you like what you're seeing and doing, come back and do it again. And then, like you said, sometimes it's 3 times before they, may join or whatever, but that's also another great way to do it.
Hey, Kevin, could you share your trash pickup calendar with us? Because I'll put it in our newsletter. I'm not sure that we're even aware of it unless, you go to DACDB, and with our demographic, getting them to DACDB is not the easiest thing in the world. The question I had is, we had the Tour de Palm Springs and we sold the t-shirts.
Right.
We had, 4,300 people, pounding at our booth, buying stuff. Everybody's in a great mood. They're all buzzed from their ride. It couldn't have been a jollier occasion, but I thought, what a marketing opportunity that we miss. What would you do, Judy, in that kind of occasion? Because these are people from all over. Some are local, some are not. What would you do to promote Rotary?
Well, first of all, I would have some information on the table about Rotary, something small that they can put in their pocket, nothing like a big brochure or anything like that. Ideally, it would be a card with a QR code so they could go to the website. But did you take their email when you transacted the purchase?
No, and that was deliberate because I think a lot of people would be reluctant to share that. We used the automatic payment system. I don't know what that actually takes in terms of, no, we did take their email address, but I think without getting their permission to send something, I'd be a little leery about that.
Well, you have to send them, you should
receipt.
be sending them a receipt. And on the receipt, it should say, thank you so much. This, was put on by the Rotary Club, and put a link. It's not like you're sending them like, we want you to buy our Rotary or join our Rotary Club. It's that subtle message that often can lead to more conversations. The other thing, and QR codes are a big deal now. It's funny because many years ago, when you needed a QR code reader, I was so excited about QR codes because I saw the value in them, and then they sort of went in this little downtrend thing, and then COVID did some amazing things. COVID brought back QR readers, and cameras can now read them. So why I mention that is QR codes are really a great way when you're in a situation like that. You could put a big QR code that says, learn more about the great things we do in the community, QR code. That's it. Not a lot of anything but the great things we do, or join us in serving our community, or doing this great, less is more. And you want to send them to the page. Now, a lot of people don't realize you can make a QR code super easy. And I'm going to send you the thing. It's called flowcode.com. Again, another free thing, another free tool. And it literally takes you through it, and you can create a QR code in seconds that leads directly to your website. You can put your logo on it. And you basically want to lead them somewhere where you then give them something to do. And if you don't have a forum page or something to lead them to, at least lead them to your website, so that you can take a look at what you're doing. And that allows, thank you, Kevin, for putting that monthly trash pickup thing in there too. So that allows people to easily connect with you. And I think the biggest thing I'm gonna say, any way you're collecting information or you're connecting with someone that has come to volunteer with you, the worst thing you can do is connect with them and then not follow up.
Right.
That is the biggest piece that I think gets missed. And that's something we're actually working on even at the district level. You guys get a lot of leads. In this year alone, we've had over 250 leads to people that have actively reached out and want to learn more about Rotary in somewhere in our district. Now those leads get sent to presidents and membership chairs, and we're hoping that they follow up and everything's a wonderful. But what we want to know is that within your club as well, when you're connecting or somebody comes and visits, make sure that membership chairperson or a greeter or somebody gets their information, gets their business card, gets their email, so somebody can follow up, and then there's a process for following up.
Do you know if you can get a QR code on a square receipt?
You might be able, I don't know for sure, honestly. They might if they let you upload a logo or any kind of if they let you upload a logo, you could upload the QR code.
Okay, perfect.
Because it's just a JPEG or a PNG file. And to Dan's point, the PNG file is better because the background's locked out. Stephen.
Yeah, Jack, if you can email me, rotarysteven@icloud.com, I will teach your club how to get onto DACDB. I did it with my club. It's very simple. Kevin's shaking his head. It was so simple that everybody was laughing how easy it was to get onto DACDB.
Well, thanks for the offer. We've actually done that with our club, and people are still not going on DACDB because I don't think they see why they should. I think that's a different sort of pitch that we have to think about it as our club.
Okay, contact me and I'll go over it with you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have 2 things left that I haven't, well, 3, but I think we're not going to get to social media outreach. We have covered that before. Dan, there's a whole video that we've done on YouTube. Be sure to check it out. Dan, if you could put a link to our YouTube channel so we can take a look at previous workshops. I don't want to miss newsletters and enrolling members to join your public relations team. So, Jack, I think you were asking about newsletters. Are you doing your newsletter through DACDB?
He's on mute.
Sorry. I do graphic design in retirement for nonprofits. And so I created a Word document that's actually pretty slick. And I only found the DACDB newsletters late in the game, and people are already accustomed to sort of the format. So I looked at some of the easy report kind of things, and they're kind of clunky, actually.
Yeah, with the graphic designer's eye, you're never going to like what DACDB puts out. You're just not. It's not pretty. But it's functional, and those that aren't graphic designers, because if I understand you correctly, you want to try to transition into someone else doing it. Was that?
No, it's just that I hope to get out in the summertime out of Palm Springs, and so somebody has to cover me for 10 weeks. So
that's where I would suggest that maybe you identify somebody that has, doesn't have a tremendous amount of fear with technology, and maybe have Stephen sit down with them, because if they're not a graphic designer, then the DACDB newsletter tool is really helpful, because it really does pull the information from the website and keeps current information as long as everybody's putting in current information into DACDB. Okay, I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and then check out the district website. We've actually transitioned our newsletter. It is actually designed, Dan Goodrich designs it, I think, in InDesign, and then he uploads it to a, which you guys will be seeing shortly. He uploads it to a plugin, which is creating a flip book. So, and that actually is, to me, the preferred, and I'll show you what I mean by that. If you haven't seen it, if I can type fast enough. Come on. Is it arby.org? Of course. can't find it fast enough. Dan, can you find it? And then I'll share, I'll give you the ability to share once you find it. I'm looking for the archived newsletters, and that shows the flip book. So there's a lot of different ways to do the newsletter. It's kind of, you know, how do you want it to be? Is it going to be something you want graphically pleasing? Jack, I'm sure your newsletter's beautiful. And DACDB's newsletters are not as, they can have beautiful pictures in them and such, but they're not as graphic intensive as can be done in other programs. Let's just put it that way. So any other questions about newsletters? Okay, let's talk about getting and enrolling people into your PR team. How many of you actually have a PR committee? Steve, all right. And how did you get those people on that committee?
They are very active in our club. Kevin does social media, and Bill Chase does our news bulletin, which is called Newswheel.
So you found people that are already naturally talented, and then you asked them to be on the committee, correct?
Didn't have to ask, they did it automatically. They enjoyed
Oh,
what
that's
they
even
did.
better. Even better. I think that's the biggest thing is identifying individuals that, you know, may have some natural talent and or can be taught, and then giving, you know, asking them to be on the team. It does take more than one person, even in a small club, because you're always looking, if someone loves to take pictures, if you just had somebody that went around and taking pictures, we have somebody at the district level, that's all she likes to do. She wants to take pictures. Great, get the pictures to Dan. Dan will make it beautiful. She doesn't want to mess with any kind of editing or any of that, and that's great. He gave her some direction on what he would like in the pictures, how he would like those pictures taken, and then she does it in a timely manner. Sophia, you had your hand up.
Sorry. Okay. Yes, we have a public relations committee in our club, even though right now it's a small club. And you're absolutely right. Some people like to take pictures. Some people like to edit the actual newspaper, or how do you call it? Not newspaper, but the bulletin. And other people like to write articles. So it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork, and as long as everybody does whatever they like and they are good to do it, then go ahead.
Good ideas, thank you. And I think the biggest thing, that's why we are doing these workshops, that, you know, people are afraid. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get into the Facebook page. I don't know what to do with DACDB. I don't know how to get into the brand center. That's fine. We have resources for you at the district level. Send your team or your hesitant person our direction, and we'll try to get them more comfortable with the technology, with the ideas. Sometimes it's as simple as, you know, I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm going to write. And so, you know, utilizing something like an editorial calendar, which is preloaded with all of the themes for each month. I mean, that was a game changer. I think, Dan, you could probably speak to that.
Yeah, so the editorial calendar is just like the roadmap to creating content for our district. So on a daily basis, well, Monday through Friday, typically, I just look at the editorial calendar and it tells me, okay, this is the theme. I find something maybe on I think it's Wednesday, theme related, and then I put that information out there. If it's promoting an upcoming event like RLI, I'll be putting out information about that as well. So it just makes it super easy, super quick. Not a lot of thought goes into it. I see it, I find it, I post it. It's pretty simple. So
cool. Okay, and Dan put the flipbook link into the chat. If you haven't had a chance to take a look. It reads like a book, which is the way I think that it makes it much easier for people to consume the content. You got to remember, everybody likes their content consumption in different ways. That's why we want to make sure we have lots of options for people to have, whether it's video or they want to read it. And some people really just want the paper. And so there is nothing wrong with having a printed newsletter or maybe a mailed piece when you're promoting an event. Don't forget, print is not dead. It's just not the primary form, and it is a bit more expensive. So keep those, all the ways that we can communicate to people in mind. We are a little bit over, so I want to wrap this up by just opening it up for any questions that anybody has about anything. We don't have to stick to the topics we had for this evening. And also, was there something valuable that you found from this workshop today? So I'm just going to go around the room. Joe, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, I was just going to say, I think you did an excellent job. I have lots of notes here, and I'm looking forward to the next class.
Excellent. I think the next one, Dan, if you're available for April, March, or where are we? March. Sorry, I'm trying to jump ahead of myself. If you're available for March and you can do a video editing, I'm sure that will be quite popular. And it's always the fourth Monday in March of the month, not just March. While Dan's looking at that, Sophia, did you learn something, and or do you have any questions?
Well, I am glad that I was able to join. I received the invitation from Dan, which I appreciate a lot. And yes, it was some refreshing ideas, and I thank you. And I look forward to be in another one of your webinars.
Excellent. And pass the word along. We do not limit anybody. We'll take everybody that's interested in promoting Rotary. So you don't have to be a president or a PR person. We'll maybe recruit you into being that. Kevin.
It was nice to revisit a lot of the stuff. Some of the stuff was good to revisit, as I mentioned. And I like the idea about doing the QR code on a card because we have our Chalk Art event coming up on March 18th and 19th. So we do have club flyers, but I think the QR code might be the way to go. So we'll make those on business card size stuff and put those out there.
And also on big posters. They do well on that too.
Yeah.
Stephen.
Well, it was nice to hear all of this. A lot of it is brand new. If you've been in it for a while, Kevin and I can attest to that. We'd like to invite you and Dan to be speakers at our club at one of our meetings. It's early, but we'd love to have you. And I really enjoy, this interaction because it really reignites us of what we're doing, if we're doing it correctly, or just, could that one little thing that's different that it could add to, what we're doing. And we would love to have you.
Absolutely. I know that we both probably have presentations that will inspire your club to all be PR professionals and talk about Rotary, talk about the things you're doing in your club. I think that's one of the biggest misnomers. It's like every club member's responsibility should be promoting the club and the things that you're doing. And so we will help them with the tools to do that.
Thank you.
You said this was recorded. Is it going to be on the district site?
Yes, it's on the district YouTube channel. And I believe we also have a link from the district page where it says public relations. There's a link to our YouTube channel from there as well. Jack, you're rounding out the team with any comments, something you learned, or any questions?
Well, this has been fantastic. I'm relatively new to the club, and our club, I think, suffered like a lot of them did through COVID, and we haven't really pulled out of sort of that kind of malaise. And my job is hopefully to bring some new energy. So the more, the merrier in terms of what you can teach me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks again for coming. Thanks, everybody. Dan, any final words?
Nope, just keep doing what you're doing and give us some information about that Rotarians at Work weekend, because we're ready to post and get that information out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. We appreciate it. Have fun in your clubs. We love to hear all about it, and see you next month, the 4th Monday at 5:30, same place, same time, same link.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.